your learning little can recognize that this is a fruit and this is also a fruit, then they are ready to recognize that there is more than one way to write and represent different sounds. We know in our language, written language, that we have long vowels that are written many different ways. And for instance, with our long A, we have an AI, an AY. We also might see an EIGH. We might see EA. Sometimes that says E, but it also can say A. We'll get into that with a little something called set for variability. And sometimes even the EY can say A. Sometimes it says E. Most of the time it says E. And then we also have a split. And that's when we have that A with a consonant and a mighty silent E at the end. So there are many different ways to represent even one long vowel. And this can seem really overwhelming. And we think, oh my goodness, how can such a little learner understand all of this? But really, their brain is structured in a way to make sense and to absorb language and to be able to, and so we really don't have to worry. We can use some strategies. I have some great strategies today. Just a little aside, you might be hearing a noise. That is our generator. We have had wild weather and I'm doing the best I can with the lighting today. It may not be ideal, but it certainly is helping. And I just wanted to ensure that I got out the video for families, my loyal subscribers, in order to help them teach these long vowels to their learning littles. And so with that, I just want to encourage you to make sure that you've subscribed, hit the notification bell so you never miss a learning moment, and share this with any friend or family member that has a learning little that is learning to read. Or maybe they have a learning little that's struggling with their reading. These are great strategies, and so I really encourage that. And also, hit the like button, help me get this out to more families. All of these resources are free. I just want to encourage you to keep it hands-on, make sure that your littles are actively able to move things around when they learn. I have great strategies for that. And let's dive right into our strategies. And so I do this as a service to other homeschooling families and also for families who want to help their children in the home and teachers who want strategies to take back to their students. All right, so with that, I want to go ahead and jump in to some of our strategies today. We already talked about the different ways that we might see the long A represented. And it looks like it's a lot of information. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways right here that we might see the long A written in the English language. And that definitely can seem like a lot for a little brain. But we can help our littles to understand this concept and grow in this area and become successful readers. And also a little bit of a tidbit of information is our littles will definitely be clued in to our emotions. So if we're feeling a little overwhelmed, intimidated by it, uncertain, that's completely normal and natural, but at the same time, our littles can pick that up. So exude confidence in them. Let them know that you know that they can do this. That it might take a little bit of time and that's okay, but we're gonna work at it. And if you don't know something as the mom teaching or the teacher teaching, that's okay too. You can look for that information. That's a lifelong learner and that's what you're modeling for your students and or your children. So keep those things in mind as we go along. All right, so my first strategy for teaching long vowels is to use Elkonin boxes. And I love to use these boards. They make it super simple when I'm doing my episodes. And again, if you want to go back and watch how to do the CVC words I talked about earlier, those are those 3 sound words, I have a link right here and you can go ahead and go to that. But Elkonin boxes are super simple. You can actually just draw them yourself. You don't have to buy a fancy board. I like to use this board because it's magnetic, and sometimes I actually have magnetic cubes I use in my videos, as well as just having it set and ready to go. But Elkonin boxes help us to really make it concrete for learners, the sounds of the word and the way that the letters represent those sounds. So the first thing, and I've talked about this in other videos, is that each box represents a sound. So if 2 letters make one sound, they go together in that one box. Little confusing, but I'm going to go step by step with you. So this is how it would look. If I have the word day, the first thing I do is have the littles listen to the sounds. We call this phonemic awareness. We start right on our chin. D, A. Then we blend it. Day. Ooh, I heard the first sound was D, and I know that's the sound that goes with the letter D. So I'm going to put a D in the first box. So I put the D right in that first box. And this is, again, remember, we want children to be actively engaged. This might be something that you have them write on a board as you write on your board. I always had each student, when I had a classroom, each student had a board because I wanted them to be doing this with me. I didn't want them to be just watching. But you also might have them do the writing with you if you only have one board. Maybe you share the pen and you let them write some of the letters. That's another way that you can engage your child. All right, D, A. So I hear my second sound is A, and I only had 2 sounds in this word. In the word day, the A and the Y is saying the A sound. All right, so we put the A and the Y in one box because the A and the Y are a vowel team. The Y is acting as a vowel here. It's part of the vowel team, and it's saying the long A sound. It's working together to say that, so that is why both letters go in the one box. So we have D, A, day. The beauty of this is that once children see this, we've not just handed them a fish, so to speak, so they can eat. We've actually taught them how to fish. So if they know the word day, they can also apply that knowledge to the word say. They can also apply that knowledge to the word may. And it might happen that they apply this knowledge incorrectly at times as they are working through the process of assimilating everything into their brain. Remember, they're making connections in their brain all the time. And so we want to be patient with them as they do that. Really resist the urge to jump right in and spell it for them. Just walk them through it. That's something I plan on modeling in another video. But you can see why this strategy is super helpful. We can see how the A and the Y are working together to say that one sound, and that is helping the child understand and to recognize that pattern in a word. All right, but we also might have a word like 8. Now this is tricky because there are several letters in this word, but if I listen to it on my chin, again, that's phonemic awareness, A, T, 8. I only have 2 sounds. Now, in this case, I am actually talking about the number 8, okay? So not like I ate the dinner, but, and that makes a big difference, right? Because they're spelled differently, and that's a whole nother video. But we only have 2 sounds. We only need 2 boxes. But there are definitely more than 2 letters. So what does this look like? In this case, I would model for the child that the E, I, G, H is working together to say A. It's saying the long A sound. A, T, 8. And again, we might use this knowledge, and they can use this knowledge later, like for instance, in the word nay. N, A. So again, we've taught them that. Might they misspell that sometimes and use a different word pattern or a different way of writing the long A? Absolutely. There's so much that our children are taking on, so it's not to just gloss over that, but to encourage you and let you know that your child is capable, that young brains are, they have the plasticity to learn these things and to understand that we can represent one sound multiple ways. All right, so we have N-A, nay, but we could also have sleigh, sol-a, sleigh. So there again, you have taught your child how to fish when it comes to reading instead of just handing them how to spell the word. You're modeling for them, and you'll see them apply this. And again, they're not going to apply it correctly 100% of the time. That's part of the process. We call it invented spelling, and it's super fun to watch their development in this because it gives you a little glimpse of what they do know and what they're applying. All right, that is the first strategy. The next strategy would be to take my board, and I might write a word like rain. Rain. Now, I would say, all right, can you show me the letter that says R? Go ahead and circle that. And I might have the child circle that R. Can you put a dot over the letter that says N? Okay, they find that. Can you put a heart around the part that says A? Oh, there's two letters working together. So we could put a little heart around that. And I've gotten them actively engaged and had them go on a little hunt to identify the different parts of the word. You may want to consider only going in the order that the letters are written because we want to be careful to always call their attention to directionality. We can mix it up in this case if we're going on a hunt for the letters, but we do want to be mindful that typically we want to always keep them moving from the first letter in that same direction. That's just a little aside and an instructional strategy that's super important to keep in mind. All right, so that would be strategy number 2. My third strategy goes into some of our tricky words. So when I wrote the different ways that we can write the long A, I included the EA. And we know that EA can say E. It's that whole first vowel goes a walkin', the first vowel does the talkin'. So we also have words like, for instance, steak, that we have an EA that's actually saying the long A sound. This is actually one of the sounds for EA. How do our children know the difference? Some of that comes with experience, but I will say there's something called set for variability. And that means that a child will use what they know to understand, that didn't sound right. All right, there is another way to pronounce that double vowel team. Oh yeah, it can say the A sound. So this isn't steak. That doesn't sound right. Oh, it's steak. Yep, I know, a steak. That's something we can have for dinner. All right, so that is called set for variability. When a child can recognize that vowel team or that pattern can say more than one sound, and when it doesn't work out the first time they read it, they go back and they correct themselves. We want learners to be able to do that because we have a lot of research that shows that successful readers, it's not that they read perfectly, it's that they stop and self-correct. So we want learners who are self-correcting. Okay, so that leads into our last and final strategy. And this is definitely a higher level of learning because they are applying what they know, they are analyzing it in their brain, and they're sorting it. And this is why I love sorting, whether it's listening to the beginning sound and sorting between two different beginning sounds, or something like this where you're challenging them to listen to see what that vowel is saying. It really helps the child to practice and differentiate. And then they're going to carry that over when they're actually doing their reading. So let's do a few together. My first word is steak. So in order to hear a medial vowel, I stretch words out. Steak. Ooh, I heard the long A. So I'm going to put it in the long A bucket because that EA is saying the long A. Let's try another one. I have the word nay. A. Ooh, I hear the long A. So I'm going to put this in the long A bucket. Let's try another one. The word is day. D-A. Day. Again, I hear the long A, so it's going to go in the long A bucket. All right. Now this is a tricky one. We have they. This is an example of the EY saying the long A sound. So again, the first time they read it, they might say the. And if that doesn't make sense, they're going to, oh, the EY can also say A. They. Yeah, that is a word. That's going to go in the long A bucket. All right, let's try the next one. Here we have key. First they might, especially if they're reading it in a sentence, that's when it's the best. But in this case, we have the word key. We know that's a long E, and so it's going to go in the long E bucket. All right, let's try one more. T, T, E. I hear the long E, it's going to go in the long E bucket. And this is a super simple activity. All it takes is, these are dollar store sand buckets and just little colorful index cards, flashcards, but not flashcards because we're not using them as flashcards. We're using them as an interactive, play-based activity. And with that, I encourage you again to subscribe, hit the like button if this helped you out, and share with anybody you know that has a Learning Little so I can get this out to more and more families with this free information that's based in research. And I'll see you next time when I teach to your learning super strengths, one child and family at a time.